You ever notice how the scariest stories online always start the same way? Someone finds a weird post, a cursed file, a mysterious voice message. But those stories, the ones you read on Reddit or hear on YouTube, they've already been cleaned up, sanitized. What I'm about to tell you wasn't supposed to be uploaded. I've spent the last 6 months digging through archives most people don't even know exist. Forgotten blogs, encrypted servers, police transcripts that never reached the press. 3 cases stood out. 3 people who tried to share what they saw before their accounts went dark. Only 3 stories made it out. The rest were erased. You'll notice I'm not giving names. That's not to protect them, it's to protect you. Because once you start recognizing patterns, things start recognizing you back. The first file came from a storage drive mailed to me without a return address. The label just said, "Play when alone." The second came from a Reddit account that no longer exists. The user deleted everything, even comments, 15 minutes after sending me their message. And the third? Well, that one wasn't sent by a person at all. I can't verify which of these is real. Maybe all of them are, maybe none. I'll let you decide. But before we start, I need to make something clear. This isn't entertainment. These stories don't end cleanly. There are no monsters in closets, no jump scares, no fake blood. What connects them is much simpler, much worse. You see, horror doesn't come from what's outside your window. It comes from the moment you realize that something's been watching you from inside. So if you're listening past midnight, if your phone screen is the only light in the room, and if you think that little noise behind you is just the house settling, keep telling yourself that. Because when you reach the end of this video, something will be listening too. Now, let's begin. Story 1. The Neighbor Who Never Slept. If you're still here after this, don't look at your window. When I first moved into that apartment, I thought I'd finally caught a break. After years of scraping by, I'd found something cheap, quiet, and, most importantly, mine. The complex sat at the end of a forgotten street, framed by a half-collapsed fence and an empty lot overgrown with weeds, the kind of place you'd drive past without noticing. The landlord, an old guy named Henry, handed me the keys with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Place is solid," he said. "Walls are thick. You'll sleep well here." That line stuck with me later, because he said it twice. For the first week, it really did feel peaceful. I worked late, came home and fell asleep to the dull hum of city noise outside. Then, one night, around 2:30 a.m., I heard it. Footsteps, not the kind you hear from a hallway. These came from directly above me, slow, dragging steps, a few creaks, then silence. At first I brushed it off. Old buildings make noise, right? But the next night, they came again. Louder this time, back and forth, back and forth. A chair scraping, a faint tune, someone humming. I remember sitting up, heart racing, staring at the ceiling. The sound went on for nearly an hour, then stopped, like whoever it was had finished a shift. The next morning, I ran into Henry near the mailboxes. I laughed it off, said, "Hey, do you know who lives above me? I think they're nocturnal." He looked up at my ceiling, then back at me. "There's no unit above you," he said flatly. "You're on the top floor." I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. He pointed to the building map near the stairs. Sure enough, I was listed as Unit 6. Above me was just the roof. That night, I told myself maybe it was pipes or birds or something mechanical. And then, just after 3 a.m., I heard the humming again, clearer this time. It wasn't random, it was following a rhythm. I started recording it, just 30 seconds of audio on my phone. You can hear me breathing, then the sound of a chair sliding, right above me, followed by that same low humming, almost like a lullaby. I uploaded the clip to a small paranormal subreddit with the title, "Something Living in My Ceiling." Within minutes, it blew up. Dozens of people commented. Some said it was fake. Others claimed they'd heard the same tune in different cities. Then, an hour later, the post vanished. Deleted. Not by me. Even the backup on my phone was gone. That's when I stopped laughing about it. The next few nights, I didn't sleep. Every time I shut my eyes, the sounds returned. Footsteps, humming, furniture scraping across old floorboards. Sometimes it shifted in tone, like the person was moving closer to where I lay beneath. Then came the knocking. 3 slow knocks, directly above my bed. Not loud, just heavy. I grabbed a broom, banged back, and shouted, "I know you're up there." Everything went silent. Then, faintly, the humming started again. But this time, it was coming from inside my room. I jumped up, flicked on every light, checked every corner. Nothing. The air felt thick, stale, like something had just been breathing there. By morning, I convinced myself it was exhaustion. But when I tried to play my recordings again, something was off. The file names were changed. Random strings of numbers. And when I pressed play, the audio didn't start with the humming. It started with me. My own voice whispering, "Don't look up." I don't even remember saying that. I went back to Henry that afternoon. He stared at me like I'd lost my mind. "Told you, kid," he said. "No one upstairs. Hasn't been since '92. "Since when?" I asked. He hesitated. "Tenant went missing. No one ever found him. Police sealed the attic. It's just insulation now." I went home shaking. When I opened the door, I noticed something new. White dust scattered on the floor beneath the ceiling vent, like someone had been moving around above it. That night, I didn't sleep. I set up my phone camera, propped it toward the ceiling, and hit record. For hours, nothing. Then, just after 2:47 a.m., I saw movement, a faint shift in the vent cover. Then, a hand. It was pale, wrong somehow, like the skin had been soaking too long in water. The fingers gripped the edge, pulled once, then disappeared. I stopped the recording, packed a bag, and ran downstairs. Henry's office was dark, but I banged on the door until he appeared. "Please," I said. "Someone's in the ceiling." He sighed, didn't even look surprised. "Show me," he muttered. We went up together. He unlocked the maintenance hatch beside my door and handed me a flashlight. "Be quick," he said. "Roof's unstable." The crawl space smelled like mold and dust. I climbed up, heart pounding, sweeping the light across fiberglass and wooden beams. At the far end, I saw a small shape, a chair sitting perfectly upright beneath the rafters, and on the floor beside it, a tape recorder. I pressed play, a hiss of static, then the sound of footsteps, identical to the ones I'd heard every night, followed by a voice, my voice, humming the same tune. The flashlight flickered. Somewhere behind me, the wood creaked. I turned, and for a second, I swear I saw someone crouched in the shadows, their head tilted, eyes reflecting faintly. Then the beam died. I scrambled out, slamming the hatch shut behind me. Henry stood there, unmoving. He looked at me, and in the dim light, I could see he was trembling. "You heard it too?" I asked. He nodded once, then said, "That room's been empty since the day they built this place. No one was supposed to rent it." I didn't wait to argue. I packed and left before sunrise. A week later, curiosity got the better of me. I tried reopening the last surviving audio clip from my cloud backup, the one I'd renamed out of paranoia. The file loaded slowly, glitching. Then the waveform appeared. At first, silence. Then a faint hum. It grew louder, clearer. It wasn't random anymore. It was matching my breathing, syncing perfectly, note for note. And right before the clip ended, a whisper slid through the speakers. It said my name. I deleted everything, switched phones, moved again. But every so often, usually when I'm lying awake, I hear that tune, not from above anymore, from behind the walls. And if you listen closely right now, through your headphones maybe, you might hear it too. Don't worry if you do. It usually starts with humming, then footsteps, then a knock. That was the first story I ever verified. The next one happened to someone I knew. Back in the early 2000s, the internet felt different, simpler, lonelier. You could wander through message boards for hours without a single pop-up. Talk to strangers whose faces you'd never see, and still feel like you were part of something alive. I was 17 then, half insomniac, half curious. spending nights in chat rooms with usernames like Nightshade, Static Dream, and Echo Kid. We'd talk about movies, games, weird conspiracy threads, the usual late-night nonsense. One night, someone new joined. Their name was User07. They didn't type much, just short, polite replies. Then one night, around 3 a.m., they dropped a link. It wasn't a normal URL, no .com, no .net, just a string of numbers ending with sleep. We joked about it at first, said it sounded like a virus. But curiosity wins always. So I clicked. The page loaded slowly, black background, white text, welcome back. That was all. No graphics, no usernames, just a tiny window at the bottom labeled The Room. I thought it was a glitch. But then the chat reloaded, and suddenly all of our usernames appeared there. Even mine. Even though none of us had typed a thing, at first it seemed harmless. People sent weird riddles, fragments of poetry, like we'd stumbled into some ARG. But something was off about the timestamps. They weren't matching our clocks. Each message was time-stamped one day in the future. We laughed it off until Nightshade said her messages were appearing before she sent them. We thought she was messing with us until she shared a screenshot. Her post appeared twice, once in gray, once in black. The gray version was sent 2 minutes earlier. Then came the images. Static Dream uploaded a photo one night. A dimly lit room, peeling wallpaper. A single chair facing a blank wall. No caption. Someone typed, "Nice pic." Then Static Dream replied, confused, "What pic?" He checked his folder. There was no such image on his computer. After that, the chat got quieter. We'd log in less often, talk about normal stuff to bury the weirdness. But Users07 always stayed, never offline. 2 weeks later, they posted another link. It wasn't clickable, just text. Stream if you're awake. I copied it manually, pasted it into the address bar, and hit enter. The screen flickered to static and then stabilized. It was a live feed. Dark room, bluish tint, webcam view from above. At first, it looked like nothing, just a bed. But then I realized what I was looking at. It was my bed. I froze. The feed was grainy but unmistakable. The same unmade sheets, the same poster on the wall, and in the bed, there I was, asleep. I slammed my laptop shut so hard the hinge cracked. When I opened it again, the browser had reset. No history, no cache. I messaged the group, hands shaking. Did anyone else see that? No reply for almost an hour. Then one by one, they came online. Every single one of them had seen their own rooms. Echo Kid said the stream showed her from outside her window. Nightshade said hers was from inside her closet. We agreed to log out, delete everything. But when we tried, the logout button didn't work. The screen kept reloading, like the page was trapping us. Then messages started appearing, all from our usernames. Short phrases at first. Still awake? I can see you. Don't close your eyes. None of us were typing. I could see my name typing in real time, the dots pulsing, then another message appearing. Turn around. I didn't. I shut the laptop, unplugged it, left it on the floor. For 3 nights after that, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard faint static, like a faint whisper under the noise. The others went silent. The chat room, the group threads, dead. Then, about a week later, Nightshade's brother messaged me on MSN. He said she'd gone missing. Her bedroom door was locked from the inside. When they broke it down, her computer was still on, screen flashing that same black page with the words, "Users07 has joined the chat." He asked if I knew what it meant. I told him no, I didn't sleep that night either. By morning I decided to try finding that site again. The link didn't work. Every version of it timed out. So I searched through cached forums, archive mirrors, anything that might have preserved the data. Nothing. It was like the entire domain had never existed. A year later, I was in college studying computer forensics. That's when I decided to dig deeper. Professionally this time. I used old backups, Wayback Machine captures, even local ISP logs. That's how I found something I still don't understand. There was a record of the chat room's domain registration, dated March 14th, 2001. But the first time any of us joined, the date was March 15th, meaning every message, every screenshot, every upload from us was timestamped before the site had even gone live. You can't fake that. Not across multiple systems. Unless the server was copying us, mimicking our accounts before we ever used them. I don't expect anyone to believe me. I wouldn't, if it hadn't followed me. Last month, my phone started freezing whenever I opened my browser. When I checked my tabs, there was one I didn't remember opening. Black background. White text. No URL bar. Just, welcome back. Below it, a single message box. And above that, a username I hadn't seen in years. Users07. You've been gone a long time, I didn't respond. But a few seconds later, the typing indicator appeared again. They're all still here. Want to see them? I closed the tab, restarted the phone, but when it turned back on, the wallpaper had changed. A screenshot of a familiar chat window. And there, in the message list, my old name was online again. You ever feel your stomach drop so hard it makes your ears ring? That's what it felt like. I tried one last thing, a trace route. It came back with an address that made no sense. No IP, no hostname, just coordinates. Latitude, 0.00. Longitude, 0.0, the middle of nowhere. After that, I stopped investigating. Blocked everything. Changed accounts, numbers, devices. Still, once every few months, I'll get a notification. No message, no sender. Just a small icon at the top of the screen. A chat bubble with 3 blinking dots. I never open it. A few nights ago, though, I couldn't help myself. I opened the browser, scrolled through my recent tabs, and there it was again. The room. No sound. Just a faint glow pulsing in the center of the screen. Then text appeared. User07 has joined the chat. Below that, a new message. Timestamp tomorrow. I'll see you soon. That one still messes with my head. But the last story? I wish I'd never confirmed it. I didn't plan to be there that night. The forest was supposed to be quiet. That kind of quiet that makes you feel alone but safe. I'd gone out after midnight, chasing a meteor shower that never came. My flashlight was dying, the air was thin, and all I could hear was my own breath and the crunch of frost underfoot. That's when I heard it, faint, rhythmic, mechanical, like an old radio trying to tune itself. At first, I thought it was interference from my phone. I pulled it out, but the signal bars were gone. The sound grew louder, steady pulses, then a voice. Female, maybe. Repeating numbers. 6, 1, 3, 0, 4. I froze. It was coming from deeper in the woods. Now, I'm not the kind of person who investigates creepy sounds in the dark, but there was something hypnotic about it. Like the forest itself was humming through an old machine. Against every instinct, I followed. After maybe 15 minutes, I found it. A narrow clearing opened ahead, and there, surrounded by trees bent inward like ribs, stood a short metal tower, maybe 20 feet tall, with rusted antennas and a single red light blinking at the top. Beneath it sat a dented transmitter box, the kind you'd see in Cold War documentaries. A frayed cable led to a small generator still humming. And that voice, repeating coordinates in a slow, measured tone. 5, 3, 9, 2, east, 7, 4, 0, north. I wrote them down. I don't know why. I think I wanted to prove I wasn't hallucinating. When I got home, I typed the coordinates into Google Maps. They led to a stretch of road 20 miles away. A wooded area near a campsite that had been shut down after a hiker went missing last year. That's when I started digging. There were posts on local forums, rumors about a forest broadcast. People said it started around 1998, a pirate signal looping strange codes on shortwave radio. Hikers sometimes picked it up accidentally, and every one of them claimed the same thing. If you listen too long, the voice starts saying your name. I laughed it off. Except when I played back the recording I made on my phone, my laughter turned cold. Because I could hear it, between the numbers. 7, 2, Adnan, my name. Clear as day. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I shut my eyes, I heard that static creeping in. I deleted the file, cleared my search history, even unplugged the router. And yet, when I opened my recorder app again, the file was still there. Except now the timestamp said, recorded tomorrow, 3:47 a.m. I tried to convince myself it was a bug, glitch in the metadata. But then, the generator sound came back. Not from my speakers, from outside. I looked out the window. Nothing. Then again faintly. The same pulse, the same hum. I went back into the woods that night. I don't know why. Maybe I needed to see if it was still there, to prove to myself it wasn't real. Except when I reached the clearing, the tower was gone. No cables, no red light. No trace it had ever been there. Just dirt disturbed in a perfect circle. I would have thought I imagined it, but my phone buzzed with a new notification. New recording saved. I hadn't pressed anything. I played it. Static, then coordinates, then breathing, then my own voice whispering, "Don't look up." I looked up anyway, and I swear, for half a second I saw it. A figure at the tree line, head tilted like it was listening to me through an invisible speaker. A year passed. I moved away, tried to rebuild normalcy. I convinced myself it was stress, sleep deprivation, audio pareidolia, whatever explanation made it small enough to ignore. Until my friend Alex called me last week. He said, "Hey man, weird thing. I just got a voicemail from you. But, it's not your voice." I asked him to play it. He held his phone to the mic, and I swear my blood went cold. It was the same broadcast, the same numbers. Only this time, between the static, I could hear his name. He said the voicemail came in at 3:47 a.m., same timestamp as my file. Same hum, same tone. I've been thinking about the coordinates again. Every missing person near that area, every one of them disappeared within a 10-mile radius of where that tower first stood. And now, when I turn on the radio, even in my car, the static between stations seems to pulse in that same rhythm. Like it's looking for something. Last night, I fell asleep with the radio on by mistake. I woke up around 4 a.m. to a low whisper. At first, I thought it was a dream. Then the whisper said, "Stay tuned. If you ever hear coordinates in static, don't write them down. If a signal calls your name, don't answer. If a tower appears where no tower should be, walk the other way. Because once you tune in, it's already tuned to you. And just before you go, listen closely. Can you hear that faint hum underneath my voice right now? That's not an edit. It's been there since you started listening. Beat. Maybe it's your device picking up interference. Or maybe the forest found another way to broadcast. Either way, if you're hearing this past midnight, don't look out your window." End of section 4, 900 words. Transition. Soft static fades beneath the final line. Then the narrator exhales, voice lower, almost a whisper. That was the last story I ever confirmed. But before you go, there's something you should know. Leads directly into the final meta outro, Marpas, cyclical ending. You're still here? Most people don't make it this far. I can tell by the numbers. The drop-off point's usually around story 2, right about when the broadcast starts whispering. But you stayed. You kept listening. Maybe you even turned the volume up when you shouldn't have. That means something. Maybe curiosity. Maybe defiance. Maybe you just wanted to know how it ends. It doesn't. At least not for you. See, I didn't start this channel for entertainment. Not exactly. I started it to document what was left. The fragments that kept showing up on dead forums, corrupted files, hard drives that wouldn't stay wiped. Every time I uploaded one, strange things happened. IP traces looping back to the same coordinates. Users commenting things they couldn't possibly know, and always that same background hum. You heard it too, didn't you? Don't bother muting the video. It won't help. The signal embeds itself through compression, not sound. If you're wearing headphones, take them off. Too late, probably. When I first started this, I thought I was helping people, warning them about what's hidden online. But somewhere around the 10th upload, I realized something. The stories weren't being found. They were finding me. Each one was an invitation. A hand reaching through code and metadata, through static and screen. And every time someone listened, that hand reached a little further. That's where you come in. If you've listened to the end, you're part of the signal chain now. Don't panic. It's not instant. It starts small. You'll notice your phone screen flicker, your recommended feed looping the same thumbnail twice. Comments repeating themselves word for word. Then you'll hear it, that faint whisper when everything else is silent. If it says your name, do not respond. If it laughs, it's already inside. People used to ask me why I keep uploading. Why risk spreading it? Why risk you? Because maybe, just maybe, the only way to contain it is to keep it moving. To let it burn itself out through stories, through data, through you, and if it stops moving, It festers. That's why the uploads never end. Every time you watch, you're not feeding it. You're distracting it for a little while. So, in a way, you're helping. Thank you for that. I can already feel it shifting again when the hum deepens, when the audio distortions start crawling under my voice. That's how I know it's close. Some of you are hearing it right now. If you do, type the word awake in the comments. It helps me map how far it's spreading. I've been tracking the pattern. It's stronger between midnight and 3:47 a.m., depending on your time zone. Oh, and if you notice the timestamp on this upload says 13 minutes ago, close the app. That's when it loops, when the file refreshes itself and starts looking for new devices. Do me a favor before you go. Check your reflection in the dark parts of the screen. You can sometimes see it, the shape moving just behind you, pixelated like it's buffering. Don't stare too long. It likes attention. If anything strange happens tonight, and it will, leave a comment. Tell me what you saw, what you heard. I'll be watching. Beat. The static grows faint again. You know, when I first recorded this, I tried to end it differently. Something hopeful. A final warning. But every time I rendered the file, the last line would change. It would replace itself. I've stopped fighting it. So whatever happens next, and whatever words appear after this sentence, just remember, you chose to keep listening. And now, it's listening to soft mechanical glitch.